Hey everybody, sorry to keep you waiting. Just had to finish up some last minute details here, warm up. I snapped a string today, so I had to restring this, so I got new strings on the guitar, just so everybody knows. So that's what you'll be hearing today, is brand new strings, slapping the neck here while we're doing the shootout, slash kind of friendly demonstration shootout kind of thing with all of these really cool mini amps. Let me jump in the chat here and say hello to some people. And oh wow, we got 13 people here already. Awesome. JJ's House of Jams, Gravel Rocks. What's going on, man? What's happening? Let's see here. Hey, Carrie. My co-host is checking in. What's going on? Usually she sits right here. And she messaged me earlier and said, give yourself a nice healthy pour. I think that's a pretty good pour. The ice cube makes it look like there's more in there, but that's still a pretty good pour. Jim Seaman, what's going on, man? Jim Doyle, what's going on? How do you have one thumbs down before the shootout even started? Haters. Yeah, it happens. I find that the bigger my channel gets, that's part of the deal, right? You get some haters, but that's okay. I consider it a milestone in my success. So I'm all good with it. Let's see here. Trouser Snake, what's going on, man? Majesty or JP tonight? Any bets? It's going to be Majesty. One of these nights I'm going to get my JP back down here and jam on that for you guys. That would be fun. Aaron Lucas, what's going on? Happy New Year, buddy. Thank you. What's up, Chicago Todd? How you doing, man? Good to see you here. Ben Burnett, what's up? Shout out to Ben. He all the facts that you're getting today, he offered to put together in a spreadsheet for me and email it to me. So he did that for me today, and I really appreciate that very much. Shout out to Jim Seaban for this guy right here, the Mesa, what is this, the Mark V 25. And shout out to Steve Shaheen for the Peavey 6505 over there, for letting me borrow that for the episode. So I really appreciate that. And also a big shout out to Motor City Guitar, my favorite store, for, well, they sold me this. Yeah, that's the PRS MT 15. They let me take home the orange and the 5153 as well here. The orange and the 5153. Yeah, so big shout out to them guys. Fantastic store. If you haven't been there, you should definitely shop there. They will ship nationwide, and they have the best prices on everything, and they're great people, and it's just a great store to go to. If they don't have it, I'm shocked, to be honest with you. They got 10 of everything, so definitely look them up. Jason Taylor, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Happy New Year to you, too. Thank you. Gravel Rocks, I have narrowed down between two amps, the H&K GM40 and the MT15, and I've decided to use the MT15 for recording. I am also going to sell a few amps and get the MT100 when it comes out. Great choice. I tell you, this thing, I know you guys have probably heard the story before. I'll just give it to you real quick. I borrowed it from Motor City Guitar for a live review like I do on Wednesday nights, and after I returned it, it was haunting me. I mean, a couple days later, I just had to go back and get it. I'm like, this thing's just too damn good. I have to own this amp. So I traded in a guitar and gave him a few bucks, and I ended up walking out with it, and it's one of the best amplifiers I've ever played through or owned. So cheers to a healthy, happy New Year to everybody. Yeah. Wow, that's good. That is Canadian whiskey from my good friend Dave Rebell over in Canada. And it's great stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do these hopefully in this order if I remember correctly. I'm going to do the two EVH type amps back to back. So I'm going to do the 5153. This is the second iteration of this amp. So it has more features than the first one. So it's the latest version, and then I'm going to do the Peavey 6505, the orange, then the Mark and then the MT15 last. And so what I'm going to do is just play my typical tire kicking riffs through them, nothing too fancy, just to kind of let you guys hear how these sound and how they, you know, and then I'll talk about how they feel. I'll talk about the features really quick, and then I'll play them in two mixes. One mix is pretty much all rhythms. The other one is rhythms and a solo. And if I'm feeling up to it, I'll play a third mix on some of these as well. So it's the same mix as some of you have heard many times on the channel. And the reason why I use these mixes is I actually wrote them for checking amps out and seeing what they can do and what they sound like. And I tried to make them musical, but at the same time, I'm kicking tires the whole time I'm playing these, and I'm seeing how they sit in a mix and how they react to my playing. So that's what these little songs are for that I'm going to do for you guys, and they work out really good for me. Like, if it passes that test for me, then I consider it a really good amp. It's just my opinion, but that's the way I do it. So anyways, let me play a couple riffs on this guy in a second here, but before I do that, let's pull up the features. This is the EVH 5153 Lunchbox 2. It goes for $6.99, and these are Motor City Guitars prices. It's 15 watts, and you have 15 and 3 3/4 watt power, you know, so you can downgrade the power and really saturate it if you want. You have two switchable channels, green crunch and blue crunch, and like hot lava ridiculous leads. And you have concentric knobs, so you can turn the gain way down and have a really nice clean, which I will show you. And then have the volume boosted a little bit so that it matches the lead channel. So that's a really good workaround for that. I'll turn my fan on here, it's getting hot. And then the thing that I really like about this amp and the 6505 is they both have resonance controls, which I think is a really big deal, because if you have a smaller amp, the last thing you want it to do is to sound small, so those resonance knobs really add a lot of girth to your sound, and it really makes a big difference. I have the resonance knobs on both of them set at 3 o'clock. I really pushed them so that we could have that really nice fullness down here. I'm also going to take my in-ears out, so I need my in-ears to listen to the amplifiers through the mix here, so I can play along with the backing tracks. But I'll take them out and listen to them and tell you what I think about how they sound in the room with my Mesa 212 cab. By the way, you're listening to these hooked into the Mesa 212 cab with vintage 30s. The mic I'm using is a Sennheiser E609, and that's going into a mixer and then out to an interface to you guys. So that's basically what the signal chain. The Hilux is providing all the effects that you're going to hear, but none of the sounds are coming from the Hilux. All the tone is coming from here. Okay, just so you guys know, it's ran in 4-cable method. Other features, you got an effects loop. The preamp tubes are 4JJ ECC83S, I think. I'm trying to read this. Power tubes are 2JJ EL84s. There's no MIDI control on here, but again, it does have a resonance knob. So let me get back to the camera here so I can see what's going on. Alright, so I just wanted to read those for you. Obviously, you could Google if you want to know more features and whatnot. Now we got up to 24 people. Really glad that you guys are here. It really means a lot to me to see you guys here. Alright, so let's mute the mic here and get started on a few riffs, and I want you guys to hear what this sounds like. I'm going to do a few with the in-ears in, and I'll do a few with them out, tell you what I think, then we'll do the mixes. Okay. Wow, this thing sounds really good. Really, really, really good. Sorry about, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden it just stopped working. No sound. Might have a bad cable somewhere, I don't know. These are all brand new cables, so I don't know how that could happen. Anyway, I feel that this particular amplifier it's got a very crunchy, kind of a dry crunch to it. It's not real, there's not really a lot of liquidy kind of stuff going on here. It's very crunchy and is a lot of pick attack, and it's got that really nice top end that cuts through a mix really well. And there's a richness and a deepness to it that I really like a lot, and you'll hear that in the mix because I've been sound checking these for a few hours, making sure they all sound good in the mix, and I'm really pleased with the way this amp sounds. The way it feels is also very good. It's not as chewy as I prefer amps, but it doesn't mean that I don't like it. I like it a lot. It's not the chewiest of amps. Like when I get to the other ones, I'll tell you, like, there's a chewiness that I really like on those more than this one. But again, it doesn't mean I don't like it. So, and the reason why I'm describing these things to you guys is because some people rather an amp not be so chewy and want something like this, and that's why I'm telling you about that. I would recommend this big time. I think it sounds really good. Now that said, with the EL84s, it does have a smaller sound than some of the other amps that I'll show you tonight. And how you make up for that is that resonance knob. That resonance knob really made this thing sound bigger than it actually is. So use that resonance knob to get that bigness from it, because it really does make up for the smaller size of the amplifier and the smaller wattage. Okay, so let's go with this guy here, and let's do 2 mixes, and then I'll come back and talk to you guys. My battery died in my in-ears. I completely lost everything. I just put new batteries in here. How weird. 1 second here. Place battery. Oh my god, guys, I'm so sorry. These are brand new batteries and they just died on me. They must have been bad. Hang on 1 second. I'm really sorry. I will be right back. I completely lost everything. All I could hear was the amp in the room. Apologize. Be right back. Oh my god, that was weird. Literally halfway through that second song, I lost my battery and I just had to keep playing. Oh, else we got 20... You need the battery fairy. Yes, I do. You know, I looked through the house today. I had one set of batteries left besides my rechargeables that I was charging today. And thank God I thought of charging those because that's all I got left. Let's see here. Carrie says we still have Tone Wars t-shirts available. Yeah. Thanks for plugging those, guys. Carrie. Yeah, again, sorry about that. That was really weird. Chicago Todd says he likes wearing his at rehearsal. Thanks, man. Really appreciate that. Was I way off time on that last song? Because I feel like I got way off time because I couldn't hear myself. I couldn't hear the mix. I couldn't hear anything. You know what? Let me do that one again. I think in all fairness, I need to do that one again. So there might be some tuning moments tonight too, because these are brand new strings, and I stretched them out pretty good, but you know how that goes. You're going to get that rogue string that just doesn't want to stay in tune. And so let me do that one again. Bear with me here. Okay, that wasn't perfect, but I'm sure it was better than last time. How did that sound to you guys? I mean, I'll tell you what I was experiencing with my in-ears, and these are really good in-ears, by the way. They're the KZAS-10s, and they have 5 drivers in each one, so 10 drivers total, and they have lots of great bass response and fullness. And I find them to be pretty flat, so I have no EQ on them. And basically, what I'm hearing is that it just sounds pretty rich, pretty percussive. It has a really, really good sound in the mix. I don't hear anything that's annoying me. And I have the gain set at 12 o'clock. That was the sweet spot between rhythm and leads on this. I could probably go a little higher if I wanted to, but this one seems to sit pretty good at 12 o'clock on the gain structure here. And the low end, let's see, the lows are at 2 o'clock, mids are just under noon, highs are just over noon, and my presence is at 11 o'clock on it. And that's basically how it is. Here is the clean channel with some effects. 1 second. Very, very usable clean channel on this amp. 100% usable, you know. So I mean, I don't really have any complaints about this amp at all. I think it sounds really good. A little out of tune again. Boy, this is going to be a battle tonight with these strings. I hate it when I snap a string an hour before I go live. It's like, really? Now I got to string this thing in an hour and go live with my head attached. It's always fun. Yeah, it's I think it performed really well in this mix. No problems with it at all. He's bringing the stank face. Hell yeah, man. The good amp will make me do the stank face. Dennis Malloy, Happy New Year, buddy. Okay, so what do you guys think of this in the mix and everything and by itself? Also, you know what? Before I park this guy, let me put everything at noon and show you what it sounds like at noon. And I'll do a couple of different, you know, riffs with that at noon and whatever you guys want me to do. Let's see here. Live Ready Sound. What's going on? Tim, what's happening, man? Happy New Year, buddy. Some of the best Kemper profiles out there. Live Ready Sound. Great impulse responses as well. Dave Rebell. Hey, bud. I'm late, but I'm here. Better late than never, buddy. Let's see. It's always something you always pull through. I know, Carrie. You're right. Aren't you? I mean, Carrie knows all the behind-the-scenes stuff around here. Stuff goes wrong all the time 5 minutes before we go live, and I'm scrambling. Anyway, let me do this. Let me set everything at noon, and I'll show you what this sounds like with those settings. 1 second. Let's see. I'll put the... which really wouldn't change it that much. Yeah, I'll put the presence up to noon. So 1 second here. Yeah, so like, you know, the old rule is if an amp sounds great with everything at noon, then you know it'll sound amazing with your tweaks on it. It's a good sign of a good amplifier. There are exceptions to that. This is one of those exceptions. A lot of the Mark Series amps, if you set everything at noon, they sound really weird, but they're not designed for that. So we'll get into that when I get that one up here. It doesn't mean it's not a good amp, though. This thing's amazing. It's sick. It's not one of those amps you want to set everything at noon on, because it's very different. But this one here, it's definitely got my vote for a great amplifier. Again, tips I would give you on this is crank that resonance knob. Don't crank it all the way up, but put it up to about 2 or 3 o'clock, and it's going to give you that girth that you're looking for in a big amp, big amp sound. So you won't miss your big heavy amplifier so much if you use that resonance knob. It does have a drier, less juicy, less chewy kind of feel, but there's guys that really like that. I prefer something a little chewier, but this definitely works fine for me as well. I wouldn't be mad having to play through this. I think it's very, very good. And I'm pushing it with the Horizon Devices Precision Drive pedal. By the way, let me show you with it without it too. So let me set these back to how I had them, and we'll go ahead and I'm going to do pedal off, pedal on. Okay, 1 second here. Pretty big difference with it on, It's pretty tight though. It's tighter than most amps. It's not a flubby amp without it. I just prefer to tighten it up with the overdrive. I slam every amp with an overdrive. It's just the way I play, the way I am. But whether or not it needs it, well, that's up to you and what kind of playing you do. For what I do, really percussive type stuff, I need an overdrive with any amplifier. There's no such thing so far as an amplifier that I wouldn't put an overdrive in front of. The Blue amp Iridium is very close, but I still pushed it a little bit with something. So, if there's any requests for me to do with this amp, I will do them. If not, I will switch to a new one. Let's see here. No reverb on the amp. Yes, it does have reverb. I'm pretty sure it does. Let me see here. It's probably foot switchable. I don't have the foot switches with these, so let me pull the features back up. This loop. Yeah, I'm not seeing reverb on this one. You might have to Google that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't see it in the feature list here that Ben sent me. So Ben did a great job and all that stuff, so it probably doesn't have it. Reverb's not a big deal with me. I mean, most metal guys don't use reverb. I mean, if we're going to do a solo, we're going to use delay. Nothing wrong with using it. It's just not my thing. I rarely use reverb on anything. So let me see if there's any other questions, and I'm going to switch to the next amp. All right. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to hang up my guitar here, and I'm going to switch to the 6505. Let's see how that sounds. Okay, so talk amongst yourselves. I had to actually practice this today so I could do this right. Yeah, while I'm back here, I want to see if there's reverb. Yeah, I don't see any reverb back here at all. That was a good question. No reverb. Yep, I got all my cables labeled here so that I can plug everything in quickly for you guys. There's the amp right there. Very cool amp. I definitely would recommend it, especially if you like that really dry crunch. It's got it. It has a really nice tone to it. All the lead notes were very nice. It was very percussive. Had great sustain. And again, use the resonance knob. I highly recommend it because that helps you with any kind of smallness that could come from having a smaller amp, you know. It keeps it from sounding small. And this one is Steve Shaheen's amp. I had to drive out, meet him today out in Troy-ish area, and pick this guy up. And this thing's a freaking beast. This thing's crazy. Boy, you want a gainy amp. The 6505 kind of acts like it's got something to prove. You know what I mean? I mean, this thing is major headroom in the gain area. I think the gain on this right now, I'll tell you in a second here. Yeah, it's at 11 o'clock. So it actually has more headroom in the gain department than the 5150 this guy does. So that's pretty cool. Let me make sure I get this hooked up right. Before I turn it on here, tell you, helps when you can see back here. You know, I'm sorry, good. Okay, so let's hear how this guy sounds. I didn't have one of the jacks pushed in all the way. That happens. Alright, so this one here has a little different gain structure than the EVH. I find this to be a little wetter, if that makes sense. It's a little chewier, and it seems to be a little more aggressive. Because the gain, it's got more headroom in the gain. The gain's down to, like, you know, 11 o'clock on this as opposed to 12 o'clock on that guy. It doesn't mean it's better, it's just different, you know. They're both very good. I just found that this one The top end on this one's a little different too. It's not as crispy, but it does have a really nice top end to it. A little chewier, but still very, very aggressive. This one's definitely got a lot of electricity around the tone. It's just really like it's got a lot of aggression coming out. So really enjoyed dialing this one in. It was very easy. The settings are, let's see, you got the EQ, we got the mids pushed a little bit, about 2 o'clock. The lows are about 1 o'clock, and the highs are just at 1 o'clock. And resonance is at 3 o'clock. Presence is right up the middle at 12 o'clock there. So that's basically how that's going. And yeah, the Peavey sounds really good. It really does. I mean, that's what J. Rod Thompson said. It really does sound amazing. I would also recommend this amplifier. It sounds so good. And let's see. Dave Rebell says he can't wait for the Mesa. That's 2 more. Yeah, I'm going to do the orange, then the Mesa. Jim Sieben says the Peavey sounds better than the EVH in his opinion. Yeah, I don't know, it's just a different thing, you know. I mean, and that's what this is about. It's all about personal preference. So to some people it'll be the opposite, but I agree. If I had to pick between the two, I would probably pick the Peavey, to be honest with you. I like them both very much, but if I had to make a choice so far between the two, it would probably be this guy. I just like the aggression it has, and it feels a little better to me. Again, some people might think that one feels better. So, okay, so let me do some mixes, and we'll see what's what after that. Wow, yeah, that was very responsive. It was fun to play. I felt the reaction between me and the amplifier might have been a little better here. Um, again, still love that one, the EVH, but I just think that this one has an edge over it as far as as far as my playing and my taste go. I think it sounds really freaking good. Let me see what you guys think. I'm going to set everything at noon in a minute. MK, what's going on, man? He says, damn, man, your videos keep getting better and better and better and better and better. Thank you. It's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in a bit. Appreciate you coming in here. And, and I appreciate the kind words. I really do. Let's see here. EVH Lunchbox is different than the second one. Yeah, they are. The first Lunchbox, J-Rob was saying, is different than the second one. The second one has better features. I know that, and it has a much better clean channel, which is really awesome. So, Chicago Todd says, love that riff. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Let's see. House of Jams. Great tone and playing. Thank you, sir. Yes! Trouser Snake. Awesome. Let's see. Bucket is my god. What's up, man? Crazy how much better the Peavey sounds in the mix. Yeah, it's got a great edge to it, you know. It's like there's electricity around the tone, and it just sticks out really nicely. Lots and lots of aggression. I mean, there's so much gain on tap in this amp too. I mean, the gain is ridiculous. It's only at, like I said, 11 o'clock. Let me set everything, well, let me do two things. I'm going to do the clean channel, because that matters, and then I'm going to set everything at noon before I park it, and then we'll move on to the next one. Let me make sure I'm doing this right here. I've just gotten to know some of these amps, so bear with me here 1 second. Very usable clean channel, which 6505s aren't really known for as far as I know, but I think it sounds good. I just have a little bit of chorus and reverb on it, or chorus and delay on it. That's it, you know, and I think it sounds really good. I could totally use that live without, people running away covering their ears, because some amplifiers, you go to the clean channel, and it's just ear piercing. It's just so awful. It's like ice picks in the ears. So, all right, let's set everything at noon, which with the gain is going to be up now instead of down, so that's kind of cool. Let's see here. We'll go to, there we go. Yeah, that's gnarly. That is really, really gnarly. Lots and lots of gain on that. Let's go over the features real quick. Features on this guy is, let's see, $599 for this one. So it's $100 cheaper than the EVH III. 2 channels, 20 watts. Let's see, the EVH's 3 is 15 watts, so this one's 5 more watts. Got the effects loop. It's got the III LBXIIs as opposed to the EVH that has, where's the tubes? 4JJ ECC 83s. Okay, so this one has the III LBXIIs, ECC 83s, and then the power amp tubes are 2 EL84s. It's not MIDI controlled. I'm sure you can work around with the Hilux with the direct out on that. Amp features USB output and also has reverb and a resonance knob. So yeah, great features on this one. You know, for the money, it's $100 less, and honestly, I would walk out of the store with this one so far. Again, all due respect to the EVH, it's fantastic. I'm sure there's plenty of guys that would prefer that. These are made in China. That's made in Mexico. Weigh that out with everything. But so far, we're batting really good here. Good batting average between both amplifiers. I like them both. If I showed up to a gig and they said you had to play through either one of these, I'd be perfectly happy with that. Very, very good amplifiers. In fact, you know what? Just for giggles, I got one more mix. Let's do this one with everything at noon in a full mix here. 1 second. Yeah, that amp's just stupid. It is. It's stupid good. I really, really like it a lot. Yep, that's definitely got my vote for one of the better ones for the night so far. Let's see. MK says I have a 6505 plus 112. Thing is very angry and I like it. Wish it was a 212 though. Yeah, it's an angry amp. This thing's like it's just pissed off at the world. I mean, it's just got so much rage. I really think that like. Peavey at the time, they probably were like, "Oh yeah, you guys are making these Lunchbox amps. Well, we'll show you a freaking Lunchbox amp," you know. And they put a fifth of whiskey in it, in the Lunchbox. You know, here you go. I mean, this thing's just ridiculous. It really is. Let's see here. Let's see here. See, Gravel Rock says, just read a recent Hughes and Kettner article. It really opened up my ears. They said treble and 0 mid and on 10 is the key. I'm trying to read this, see if I can read this right. Is the key to just bass accordingly. It will cut through. Oh, are you talking about the Hughes and Kettner Black Spirit? Is that what you're talking about? Just wondering. Treble on 0, mids on 10, adjust bass and resonance accordingly. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so so there's the 6505 with everything, you know, kind of at noon and at my favorite settings, clean channel, dirty channel, and 3 mixes. And does it sound small? Again, use the resonance knob, because without the resonance knob cranked, yeah, it does sound pretty small. You know, I mean, it's a 15 watt amp. I mean, you're a 20 watt amp, you know, what do you expect? I mean, you can't expect it to sound like a 100 watt amp. But I love the fact that they put the resonance knob on there, because I mean, what you guys are hearing on YouTube and what I hear in my in-ears is completely different than what's going on in the room here. You know, in a room, it's easy for a smaller amp to get swallowed up with all the air and the space that's in the room. It really is. You know, but that said, again, the resonance knob makes up for that big time. It really does help a lot. You know, so let's move on. I'm going to go ahead and shut this guy down, hang up the guitar, and I'm going to grab the next one, which is the orange. Yeah, doing all this myself is kind of interesting, but gotta do it, gotta do it. I'll do it for you guys. Hopefully it's not a nuisance watching me do this. Well, one thing I'll say is someone asked what those toppers were on my my Hilux pedal board, and what they are is I got them from Chad Boston at Gear by Ceba, C-E-B-A. And they help me hook things up where the pedals or the toppers help me hit the pedal, the switches easy without shoes on or with shoes on, doesn't matter. But I also bought his labels for all these cords that I'm using here today, and I'm able to hook things up quickly because of that. So if you're looking at simplifying your rig, go to Gear by Ceba, C-E-B-A, and get these labels, because man, I'm telling you, without them I'd be screwed right now. I'd probably be blowing up people's amps. Don't need to be doing that. So yeah, it keeps things very simple, very easy to use. It's kind of a real-time thing here. You get to see how it all works in real time. You know, this is how easy it is to hook up your stuff when you get on stage and you're in a hurry. I'm done. Double checking, because these aren't my amplifiers, so out of respect for the companies I want to make sure I check these. Last time I didn't have a cable plugged in all the way, jack plugged in all the way. That's why we didn't get sound. Alright, next is the Orange Dark Terror. Jim Doyle, if you're still here, I think this is one of your favorite amplifiers. I think Orange kind of invented the mini amps, if I'm correct. They came up with the whole concept. I could be wrong, but I think that's what the deal is. Let's see what we have here. Gravel Rocks, I have the Black Spirit also. Gotcha. Oh, you're just talking about amp settings. Okay, in general. Gotcha. Let's see here. Barry Novinger. Hey man, sounds great. Little off topic, but I like your foot switch toppers. What brand are they? Are those clear? Any other accessories on your Hilux? Oh, well, hopefully, maybe I read your mind. I just talked about that, but I'll reiterate. That's no problem. The toppers come from Gear by Ceba. They are clear. They're kind of a smoky clear though. And they work really well. I really like them. You can still see the colors, and they're great when you don't have shoes on. You know, obviously hitting those buttons, sometimes you miss them and stuff, so it makes them easier to hit with and without shoes. And Gear by Ceba is where I got them. It's just Gear by C-E-B-A. Google them. And also they'll get the labels too, because the labels, you can just color everything. So I don't even have to read anything anymore. I just match blue to blue, red to red, green to green, yellow to yellow, white to white, whatever. And I don't have to know what I'm plugging in. All I need to know is blue goes to blue, you know, and it's super easy. So when you're on stage and you got minutes to set up, this takes all the frustration out, and it saves you a ton of time. So it's frustrating enough playing out, you know, and taking all that out, it really does make a huge difference. So I would suggest doing that. I'm Carrie, says you're doing a great job. Thank you. Appreciate that, Carrie. I wish you were here. Shout out to Carrie, the best co-host in the world. She's usually right here, sitting here, making fun of me and stuff. And entertaining you guys while I'm doing dumb stuff. But hey, Jim, I'm glad you're still here. So yeah, but she'll be here on Sunday, right, Carrie? Please, you better be. All right, so let's get started with the orange. Hopefully I hooked everything up right this time. Everything's plugged in. I double checked. Let's mute the mic and get to work here. Okay, I'm going to tune real quick, and I'm going to listen to it without my in-ears on. And apologize for the tuning, guys. Note to self, don't snap a string an hour before you go live. Alright, let me pull these out and see what it sounds like in the room. Okay, so in the room, it's got that crispy top end, which is pretty cool. You know, I could see this cutting through a mix pretty easily with that crispy top end that it has. It sounds a little smaller than the other amps so far. It's really focused, you know. It does have a nice top end to it. It's a little fizzier, so I'll just put it to you this way: if you guys like that, there's several types of top end on amps. There's like crispy, crunchy. There's fizzy, kind of effervescent, and then there's like electric, and I think that's what the 6505 is. Very electric and just very, it's alive. You know, it's very like, ugh, you know. This one is a mixture between effervescent and crispy, I think. And it's very unique. It doesn't sound like the other amps. It's very unique, and I think a lot of guys use this for like the doomier type stuff, like heavy kind of doomy type stuff. And I could see how that would really fit in that genre very well. When I get done with these mixes, I'm going to show you the shape knob and what that does. It dramatically changes this amplifier. And what you have is the shape is in the middle. I just found a sweet spot in the middle. The gain's at like 2 o'clock. And that's it. There's just a couple knobs. There's volume, shape, and gain. That's it on this. It doesn't have a resonance knob, which isn't a bad or good thing or whatever. It just doesn't have one. I think it could use one, to be honest with you. It would be nice if they put one on there, and it would give it that girth that I'm looking for. But it still sounds pretty good. So let's do some mixes and see what we got. Okay, yeah, I don't know if you, I was wincing a little on the high notes. It sounds good. It's so far it sounds good for what I do. So far, it's not my favorite out of the ones that we've tried so far, but it's not bad. It's just it just doesn't work for me as well as these two guys do. The thing that I found kind of perplexing about it was the shape knob, because I was getting some stuff, some pretty high notes in there that had some piercing kind of characteristics about them, and I wish this had a presence knob. See, the shape knob just takes an overall EQ and turns it up and down. Let me show you before I elaborate. Okay, so I know they got to save room and stuff like that on these smaller amps. I get all that. So they gave you an overall control, and I think that's why I think, like, for more of the doomier kind of stuff, this would be really good, because it does have a nice cut to it. That's for sure. It does cut through a mix really well. I wish it had some more fullness. I wish it had a resonance knob, and I wish there was a way to, like, take down some of the ultra high frequencies in it, but still get a nice cut. And it seems with this that you kind of get, you know, if you're going to have a nice cut, you're going to get some of that stuff too. And maybe having an equalizer in on your pedal board would help with that. You know, I think for like, I know there's guys, I know Jim uses one and he always sounds amazing on stage. I've seen Jim's band play many times. And Iron Belly, that's the band name. And he always sounds really good with this. So I think that a lot of, and just so you guys know too, a lot of what people do with these amps, you know, what makes them sound good or out of place are the riffs that you play. The stuff that I'm playing probably doesn't match what this amp does very well, so it's probably partially my fault. It's probably what I'm doing that just doesn't match what this amp does. Could it work? Like if I had to use it, yeah, I could make it work. But I would prefer, respectfully, I would prefer to use the 6505 or the EVH so far. I just don't know if the Orange Dark Terror was made for metal, or if it was made for like the doomier type stuff with a hint of metal, and it could work for metal too. Let me see what your guys' thoughts are on that. Let's see here. Yeah, Jim Stevens says it doesn't sound as heavy as the other two. Yeah, it didn't have a lot of weight to it. Like the other two, like I could feel weight when I was playing. Like there was a weight to what I was playing. There was like a punch behind all that cut. Where this one I heard a lot of cut and a little bit of punch. That's why I think they should add a resonance knob to this, because I think that would really help. In fact, Jamie Trevino was telling me about a pedal called, by an amp tweaker called the Depth Finder. I think it's called the Depth Finder. And that would probably work really well with this. It would add that depth that you're looking for. You're welcome, Jim. Jim's band is really good. They're about to release a new CD, Iron Belly. And again, the riffs that Jim plays and the music that he plays go hand in hand with this amp. I'm out of place with it. I'm a fish out of water with it. You know, it just doesn't work for what I do and with the riffs that I play. If Jim was sitting here and he played through it, he would make this thing sound amazing, because I think it matches what he plays better. In all fairness, that's really what it is. It's all about genres and the riffs that you play, you know, and how you play them. That can make an amp good or bad. I've been in that situation many times. I've jammed with my buddies and I hear them play through their rig and I'm just like, man, that sounds awesome. Let me play through it. And I make it sound like it's a Hello Kitty rig, you know, because it doesn't match what I'm playing, you know. So it's very interesting how that works, you know. Orange is corrosion of conformity all day. Yeah, I think you're right. It's just more for that kind of music, and I think Jim Root plays through one as well, and it's supposed to be like his signature sound. So it works well for them, you know. It just doesn't work for what I'm playing, but again, that doesn't mean it's not a good amp. It's a great amp. I think that if you're more into like the, corrosion of conformity, look up Iron Belly, check them out. If you're into that kind of stuff, then I would say buy the Orange. I think it would fit what you're playing very well. Because again, Jim makes this thing sound freaking awesome. He really does. Yep, every show I always come up to him and go, dude, you sounded amazing tonight. So, all right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to put this on standby. And let's go over the features of this real quick, and then we'll move on to the next two. My mouse decided it wants to go all over the place and not listen to me. Okay, Orange Dark Terror 649, 15 or 7 watts. You can run it as single channel amp. So single band EQ, which is the shape control, which is what we discussed. And it's very simplified, you know. Preamp tubes are 3 12AX7s, power tubes are 2 EL84s, and you have a tube-powered effects loop, no MIDI control. All right, thank you again, Ben, for all of that info. I appreciate it. Having a fun night with this mouse. Alright, so let me, I'm on standby, let me shut this guy down and switch to, let's do, I think it's Boogie time. It's Boogie time, sucko. Let's play the Boogie and see how that sounds. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I really do very much. You know, I appreciate the support of the channel. It's been a great year last year. We grew a lot last year. Make sure they ain't gonna fall over. Yeah, a lot of growth last year. We got over 1,000 subscribers more last year, and I'm hoping by the end of this year to be at about 15,000 subscribers. And we're working really hard for that. I hope you're enjoying these live, you know, kind of interactive reviews and stuff like this. I mean, I know there's a little bit of a, you know, waiting for me to switch things around like on nights like this, but that's pretty rare. Yeah, it's kind of fun, you know. You guys get to ask me questions, and I can answer them in real time. We can have a great conversation about things, you know. And if you ask me to do things with the amplifiers or the products that I'm reviewing, I will do them for you so we can all learn. I'm here to learn from you as well. Let me double check all this stuff because this is a very expensive amp and I don't want to screw anything up because the owner is watching right now and he'll come over here and slap me around like a little girl. No, I'm kidding. This was actually signed by Randall Smith. This is Jim Siebens' amp. Again, shout out to Jim for letting me use this for the show. Thank you very much. If it wasn't for Jim, you guys wouldn't be enjoying this amplifier right now. I wouldn't have it here, so I really appreciate that. I've met a lot of great people since I started this channel, and it's really cool to meet all these people and to get to know people, and my friends list is just growing quite a bit because of this channel, and I really appreciate it very much. I met a lot of people that I would have never met otherwise. And you know what I'm finding out? Is that the world has a lot more better people in it than I thought. That's one of the things that I learned from this channel, is I've met so many great people. I was like, wow, there is hope. There are some really cool people out there, and it's nice to know that, you know. Okay, so fingers crossed. Let's see if I did this right. Mute the mic here. Holy crap, Jim. What did you feed this thing before you gave it to me? Jeez. This thing sounds like you gave it Thanksgiving dinner before you dropped it off. This thing is fat. It's so fat. Holy crap. You should name this Clump. This thing's like one of the Clump family members. So fat. Oh my god. This thing's ridiculous. I did the in-ears and then I did it without just to hear what it sounded like in the room, and this thing does not sound like a 25 watt amp at all. It sounds huge. I mean, it's thunderous. Yeah, let's go over the stats here. Holy crap. Very aggressive amp. Where is it? It is, there it is. Let's see here. Okay, so this is $15.99. So this is quite a bit more expensive than the other amps. But one of the biggest differences are this thing's made in America. You know, it's made in California, so that does make a difference. You know, American craftsmanship, there's something to be said for that. So this is a 25 or 10 watt amp. You can adjust the wattage on the back there. 2 channels with 6 modes, 3 modes per channel. You have an effects loop. Preamp tubes are 6 Mesa 12AX7s. And let me scroll up to the top here. And the power tubes are 2 Mesa EL84s. So it's maintenance-free bias adjustment. That's what he put on there. Non-MIDI controlled, but again, with Mesa amps and like a lot of these other ones, you can go direct out, like an amp control out on your Hilux or other products and control them with that. I think that this, because it has more tubes on the front end of it, it's so front loaded. It's just got that heavy, beefy sound. It's very clear. It's not as forgiving as the EVH and the 6505, but it's got that sticky, fat, very fat, aggressive, percussive kind of thing going on with it. Kind of like John Petrucci's amp, if you guys watched that episode where I did the JP Mark II C+. It's got a lot of that same kind of flavor to it, and it took me a couple days to get used to it, but after I got used to it, I really dug it. I mean, just the way, the percussiveness and the fat, very tight flub. Don't take flub as a derogatory word. It's tight flub. It just gives you that fat, juicy, but percussive cutting pick attack when you're doing the palm mutes and stuff. Very, very cool. Very cool. This thing sounds like my notes. My notes on the orange probably sounded like they weighed 20 pounds. Okay? I'm just using numbers to give you guys an idea. On the EVH and the Peavey, I would say they probably sounded like they weighed about 50. This thing, they sound like they weigh about 75 pounds each note. It's just, there's so much fat girth there. Really like it. And right now the mode that I'm in is the Mark... What am I in? I'm in the Mark IV mode. Sorry, I don't have my glasses. Mark IV or Mark V, one of the two. I'm not in the Mark II C+ mode. I'll show you that mode after I do the mixes, though. I'll show you the couple modes that it has. And we'll go through these mixes and see what we got. Hang on one second. Oh my God, that wow, that is really good. That thing just justified every penny that's on that price tag right there. I mean, the lead notes, even the higher ones, couldn't be sweeter. They were so sweet and so glassy, and they sustained and sang so well. I'm gonna watch this back and listen to it. I hope that you guys heard what I heard, because oh my God, this thing is just incredible. It's so good. It's, again, it's a little on the unforgiving side, but that's okay, because it makes you play cleaner. But when you play things, I'll say the same thing about this that I did John Petrucci's amp. When you play things wrong, it tells you, and it doesn't hide them from you. But when you play things right, it really, really rewards you for that. It gives you those rewards. And it just makes the interaction between you and the amplifier itself just so organic and just so pure. I mean, there's no lies there at all. It's got plenty of rage. I got the gain on this guy at 3 o'clock. It doesn't have as much gain as the other amps do. At least it doesn't have the same headroom as they do as far as the EVH and the Peavey. But it has plenty. And I have the treble at 1 o'clock. Mids are right up the middle. Bass is at 11 o'clock. Presence 11 o'clock. And then I got your typical smiley face, Joker smile here on the EQ. And you're able to use that EQ to dial in all that extra stuff. That EQ is powerful too. I'll say that. I mean, when you get this amp, you can't dial it in like your typical amp. You have to dial it in very carefully, and it's not common, especially nowadays, to scoop out your mids. It's not something that a lot of people do, especially when you're live. You'll disappear. But with this amp, it's very mid-heavy, so you want to scoop them out because it gives you plenty of mids to work with. And it's very bass-heavy as well, so you want to pull some bass out and then add it back in post. So this is all your pre-stuff. There's your post EQ, and it's just a very unique, very completely different approach to creating tone and dialing in tone. And it just sounds incredible. Before I read your comments, let me go to the Mark II C Plus mode real quick. I'll play a couple riffs on there for you, and then I'll read your comments. So that was the Mark II C Plus mode. Let me do a couple more on the Mark IV mode. 1 second. Wow, yeah, it's it seems like the Mark IV mode is a little fuller. The Mark II C Plus is a little tighter and more refined, but both are really good, really, really good. Let me catch up to your comments here, but yeah, that was an experience playing that thing. It really was very, very different. It looks like people are starting to rank them. Let's see here. Ryan Briggs, damn, that V25 is so good sounding, dude. It is. I wish you could be in this room and hear this thing. My speakers are just being punished right now, and they're loving it. They're being just absolutely punished by this thing, but in a good way. I mean, that you can hear them just in there, just going, you know, when I hit palm mutes and stuff. It's so much fullness there, and it's so freaking fat, man. Jim, you should name this thing Cletus Clump. This thing is fat as hell. Plenty of attack. It's just amazing. Let's see here. Let me go back here. Let's see here. EVH Lunchbox. I'm just trying to catch up to you guys here. Chicago Todd. If I'm tracking him correctly, he picks R with most like first Peavey. Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to read this stuff. I should have brought my glasses down. Everything looks like blurry to me. Yeah, these are not in any particular order yet. I will go through and I'll kind of give you my general consensus when we're done here, what I think of all these. And I'll be as respectful as I should be about all these products, because there's people here that own these things, and just because something that, you know, I played through tonight doesn't exactly work to my taste, it doesn't mean that it's not good. To somebody else, they could come in here and play my favorite amp and go, oh man, but I like the one that you didn't like as much better. You know, that's why there's so many amplifiers out there. All these companies are making great stuff. So I think somebody said it the other day, we're in the golden age of gear right now. I mean, everything is so good now. I mean, it's hard to find a horrible product anymore. It really is. Most of the stuff that we play through, especially when you compare it to standards of 20 years ago, is just amazing. We own dream gear of what we wanted 20 years ago compared to what they had back then. You know, stuff is amazing. So let me read a couple more comments. I'm going to play a couple more riffs on this before I hang it up, because this thing is stupid good. Carry glasses. Yeah, I know, I forgot my glasses. Gravel Rock says, saving your favorite, the best, the last, MT15. Well, I bought it, and it is definitely one of my favorite amps. Out of this group, we'll see, you know, but it's awesome. Jim Seaman, no dumble setting. Well, I undid your dumble setting, dude. I'm sorry. I don't even remember what it was. I hope you do, because I forgot what it was. But it was funny, you know. On that note, Jim, this is Jim Seaman's amp, just so you guys know, and he had it set up to sound like a dumble, and when I got it down here, it did. It sounded like a freaking dumble amp. It was amazing. So if that tells you how versatile this amp is, I mean, it really is a very versatile amp. I turned it from a dumble to an all-out onslaught metal amp in a couple minutes, and I was immediately like, oh, there you go, that's my tone. And the tone he got out of it was really good too. I just don't play like that, but for him, I'm sure it works very well. J-Rod, yeah, it's a little pricey. Yeah, it is. It's a little pricey. I mean, it's $16.99 for this or something like that. Let me make sure I'm accurate. Gotta be accurate. Yeah. Let's see, where is it? $15.99. Yeah, it's $15.99 for this guy. But again, American craftsmanship. You have 3 modes. You have 3 modes on this. You have in the dirty channel. You have the Mark II or the Mark IV. You have the the Mark II C Plus, and then you have an extreme mode, which Jim used for the dumble stuff, and then you have a clean channel. You know, so I mean, it's very, 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 very good amp. Very good amp. I would highly recommend this. If you got the money, spend it on this guy. I mean, it sounds huge too in the room. It sounds like it doesn't have. I don't think it has a resonance knob. It doesn't really need one though. If it does, because there's plenty of low end and girth in this amplifier, and there's tons of sticky pick attack. Let's do one more song. Let me do this weird one with this amp, and then I'll switch. This song's called Disjointed, and you'll hear why in a second. Good Lord. That amp just, that's stupid. That's just a ridiculous amplifier right there. Yeah, I know it's pricey. I know it is what it is, you know, with that. But that thing is really, really good. I would recommend this amp for sure. I really would. If you want clarity and you want something super fat and extremely versatile, that's your guy. You know. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I got the channels right here. Foot switch. Let me show you the clean channel real quick. Yeah, definitely very nice clean channel, very chimey, very full, very warm, and it sounds really big too. So, yeah, this is probably the biggest sounding amp so far. You know, 25 watts. You know, I think it's the most watts out of all these guys so far. So yeah, I think that helps. It's got more preamp tubes. And I think that all adds up to a bigger, girthy kind of sound. But very versatile. Probably the most versatile amp so far down here. Because you got the 3 modes in the dirty side. And then the really nice clean channel that's 100% usable. But with this EQ, I'm not kidding you, don't underestimate this EQ. It really does a lot. In fact, let me show you what it does. I'm going to flatten just this EQ out. And then I'll build the tone right here with you guys and show you how powerful it is. Hang on one second. Okay, so that's flat. The EQ is flat over here. There's still EQ going on here in the pre, but the post EQ is flat. So that's like your mastering, what John Petrucci calls it, your mastering EQ. It sounds pretty dull, you know. It doesn't sound horrible. It's pretty dull, though. It's not a real usable tone. So I'm going to build it now. 1 second. Yeah, very, very powerful EQ on that, you know. So if you don't find the tone you want on this, just barely touch the EQ, just up and down on the sliders, and you'll find things really easily with that. It's real touchy, it's very sensitive, which is good because it shows that it's got a lot of power in that EQ to help you cut through a mix and shape your tone. You can easily find your own specific, you know, customized tone on this amplifier. Let's see. Yeah, it's an EL84 powered. Yeah, it sounds like 6L6, doesn't it? It sounds, because J. Rod Thompson was asking, does it have 6L6 power tubes? It sounds like it because it's so big. It's got that big fat sound, and I think it's and it's got the EL84s, but I think it's because it's front loaded with so many tubes in the front end. It just has it in the preamp side. It's just so big sounding. So yeah, it's really, really nice. Dave Rebell says it's 2,200 Canadian. Yeah, it's not a cheap amp. See, Andrew Stone Rock is saying, I think you'll really enjoy the Invective Mini. I already reviewed that. If you look on my channel, I reviewed that a couple months ago. Yeah, it's a great amp. You're right. It's a really, really good amp. Let's see here. Just trying to keep up with you guys' comments here. Got 35 people. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be hooking up the PRS MT15 in a minute here and do a couple mixes with that. Let's see here. Astronaut of Bohemia. That's a cool name. Damn, that's brutal. It is. This amp is brutal. It's just a sledgehammer. You know, it really is. It's just a big fat sledgehammer. Let's see here. Gravel Rock said he would get the 35. The 35. Which one? Is there a 35 watt version of this? I don't know. Maybe there is. It's awesome tone you're getting there, dude. Astronaut of Bohemia said, thank you. Yeah, I mean, dialing this in, it does take a little bit of research, and you got to know what you want, but once you figure this amp out, you can easily dial it in, and it sounds killer, you know? This is very, I'll put it to you this way. If you want John Petrucci's JP, you know, Mark II C+ amp, but you don't want to spend the almost $3,000 on it, this is a great way to get that tone and not have to spend all that money, because this is, because his amp is a bona fide JP, or it's a bona fide Mark II C+, okay? This has the Mark II C+ setting in it. So it's the same thing. It's just, you know, obviously it's different wattage, but there's a very inexpensive way to get his amp. I mean, it's all relative, right? It's not very inexpensive, $1,600, but compared to his amp at $2,799, yeah, it's pretty inexpensive. You know, so if you want a really versatile amp that just kicks butt, there you go. You know, oh, thanks for clarifying, Gravel Rock. The Mark V 35, yeah, yeah. I thought I saw that online. Yeah, that's probably really cool as well. You know, Andrew Stonewalk says chunky. Yeah, this thing is very, very chunky. I love chunky tones. I could do that all day. Just beat the crap out of my lower strings all day in palm mute because it just sounds so rich and powerful. I love it. Warm chord music makes me want to get the Marcus module from Salvation Audio. I know. I'm kind of wanting to get it too because if it sounds like this, holy crap, that's tempting, you know. And plus with my Sin 5050, I'd put it through the 6L6s and it would probably just be monstrous. Ed Doug, I just found this channel after your video for delay settings for solos. Awesome, man. Nice to see you do live stuff. Happy New Year. Thanks for checking in. Happy New Year. I really appreciate the kind words. And yeah, you go live every Wednesday night with random gear reviews. I'll do gear reviews or shootouts on every Wednesday night at 7. And then I figured I'd do it live instead of produced, because that way we can interact with each other. You guys can ask me questions. I can answer them. You can tell me to turn all the knobs one way, and I'll do it for you. And then we'll see what that sounds like. I can learn from you as well. And then on Sunday nights, we have different events. A lot of times it's just me and Carrie hanging out. And I always got something to demo that night too. But we hang out and do stuff with you guys that night. And we're still working on some more fight nights for you guys. I'm going to bring it back soon and have some shootouts. So yeah, I really appreciate you being here. We'll be doing all kinds of stuff. And I'm glad you watched that video. That video's gotten so many views now. It's inspired me to do more videos like it. I have some coming up on how to dial in your gain properly for live and for recording, and how they're different. And I'm going to do that hopefully this week. I'll have that out this week for you guys. So, see, Andrew Stonerock, normally I don't go above 10 or 11 o'clock on the gain knob. Well, every amp's different, man. You know, I mean, every amp's different. I mean, I'll put this at 11. I'll put it at 10 o'clock for you. Let's see what it sounds like. Yeah, I mean, it sounds good, but it doesn't match what I'm playing. So I'm going to put it back up to where I like it and show you why I put it there. Yeah, there's a big difference. That's why I said it that way. I mean, like I said, every amp's different. You can't really have the 10 o'clock, and I say this with all humility, but you can't have a 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock rule across the board on every amp, because every amp has a different ceiling for, you know, a different amount of headroom for their gain, you know. I mean, as you saw with the 6505, I had it at 11 o'clock. But on the 5153, I had it at 12 o'clock. And on this, I got it at 3 o'clock. But I'm getting the same kind of feel and the same kind of response and saturation that I look for. So to me, I don't really look at the number. I just listen and feel. And where it hits that point where I like how it feels and I like how it sounds and it supports the notes that I'm playing, but also adds that fullness that I'm looking for, that's where I stop, you know. So, yeah, that's basically how I dial in my stuff. I don't really have, my rule is it has to sound great and feel great. I don't care where it's at, even if it's all the way up, which I haven't had to do ever, but if I ever had to, I would be like, well, whatever. I mean, with this amp, you got to go all the way up, you know, because every amp has a different gain structure and different amounts of headroom, you know. So, and I say that with the greatest amount of respect. I mean, in studios, this is something I want you guys to understand, and I'm going to put this in my how to dial in your gain for studio and live performing, is when you're in a studio, okay, and you're recording nowadays, you're recording through a DSP. And what that means is you're just recording straight in. They're just finding a DSP that works for you, that you can record with, that has the gain settings and all the other settings on it that you like. And then after you're done recording, they're going to reamp all your tracks because they just caught a direct input from you, a DI input. And then they're going to take that input and route it through an amp of your choice or their choice, and they're just going to reamp it. And at that point, they can turn the gain down. So a studio engineer, they don't like gain that much. They want that chunky kind of feel and or sound to sit in their mix properly. But you wouldn't play that amp the way they had it set up for reamping, because they're not playing that, and neither are you. They're just turning a knob on an amp to make something sound good in a mix that is only listened to, not played. But if you took that same amp with those same settings out on a show with you, you would be like, hell no, I am not playing this like this. This does not feel good to me at all. I need more. So that's the difference. You know, it really is. You know, because again, your hands aren't involved when you're dialing in gain, when you're reamping something as an engineer. Your ears are the only thing that's involved. As soon as your hands get involved, you're going to want more. You know, you're going to want enough to support what you're playing and make you feel like you're not, you know, you don't want to feel insecure. You want to feel supported. And the thing is even when I was playing some of these amps, I was getting into it because it felt great. And that's the kind of performance that you want to capture from an artist, not something where they're up there all shy going, this doesn't feel good, and you're just gripping and grinning through the show. You want an amp that supports what you're playing, but you want it set up also on top of that to support how you play, so that you can feel good about yourself when you're out there performing. And you know when you hit that note and you hit that freaking harmonic and grab the bar, you know it's going to sing. You know, and you don't think it's going to cut out on you. That's what I'm going at here. And if your amp doesn't do that, you're not going to take those chances, and you're not going to hit those notes. You're going to avoid them. So what does that mean? You just shelved a lot of things that are in your toolbox as a player. You want an amp set up in a way that it supports everything that you do, with no compromises. I mean, that's just my take on gain. It really is, and I stand by it, because and don't let people say, you got so much gain, you don't need all that, and that means you're not a very good guitar player. It doesn't mean that at all. Talk to Eddie Van Halen about that. That guy is like, his amps are almost on fire when he's out playing them. I mean, they're almost like a nuclear explosion about to happen. His stuff's set up like it's just, his amps are raging the whole time. And I like that. I want to ride the lightning, man. I want to flip that thing on and go for a ride. That's how I deal with it. Again, there's, you got to treat it like you're frenemy. You got to use it, in a way where it supports your playing. But if you give too much gain, that's when you start getting oversaturated and your notes start all blending together and it just sounds like mush. That's when you got to back it down a little bit. If it starts covering up your mistakes, you got too much. That's basically how it works. All right, so let me put this guy on standby, and we're going to switch now to the final amp of the night, which is the MT15. Bear with me 1 second. As soon as I get that hooked up, I'll read your comments and get with you guys on that. I just want to be very careful how I hook all this stuff up, because, again, this is not my amp. It's very expensive, and I want to be very respectful of Jim's property. Make sure it's off. Everything's off. Okay, unplug it. Okay. Gosh, this thing, I'm going to miss this. That was an experience. If you guys ever want a treat, play one of these. Here it is right here. What a fantastic experience that was. I'm so lucky I get to play all this awesome stuff. It's really cool. Okay, so on with the MT15. This is my amp. So I'm pretty familiar with this guy. Watch me blow it up though. Wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't that be a hoot, as Carrie says? Okay, white to white. Red to red. Green to green. I love these cables. These labels on these are so handy. Blue to blue. And it's that simple. It's that simple, kids. Alright. And forgot the power. Here it is. There we go. Alright. Got the power on there. Thanks for bearing with me on these switches. You know what I should do is download this video and edit it together so that every amp is just one right after another so you can have a direct comparison. Let me know if you guys want me to do that. Look at that. I have it hooked up through Midi on my Hilux so I can switch from the clean channel to the red channel, which is the dirty channel, with the control switcher through from Voodoo Lab. You know, that was a game changer for me, learning that. And me and Jamie Torino programmed this thing on Christmas Eve. that was a fun day. All right, so let me mute the mic here. Alright, well, that sounds freaking killer. That sounds huge as well. I'd say the size... I'd say the two biggest sounding amps tonight are the MT15 and the Boogie, for sure. You know, they just sound incredible. This guy here, let me pull up the specs for you guys on the MT15. This thing, it made Amp of the Year, Product of the Year, I think at Sweetwater. I mean, it's made a huge splash this year. And I can see why. I mean, like I said, when I played it, I fell in love with it. I could not live without it. I had to go get it. So, I was trying to find it here. Oh, it's the Mark Tremonti 729, 15 watts, or you can do 7 watts, 2 channels. And I'm serious, the channels on this are completely usable. Some amps have a really good lead channel, but a horrible clean. Both of these channels are glorious. They're amazing. And it doesn't have MIDI controlling on it per se. It doesn't have a MIDI jack, but obviously you can MIDI control it because I just showed you how to do that here. It does have external bias control. Now, I read in a forum that you can actually put different tubes in here. You know, if you're an EL fan, you can put those in and bias it for those. It has the controls on the outside. I've never done that, and I probably won't. But that is pretty cool that you can put some EL34s in it and have fun with that. This does have 6L6s. It's the only one out of this bunch that has 6L6s. And I think that that's what's giving it the huge size that it puts out. I mean, this thing sounds massive. It doesn't sound like a 15 watt amp. It really doesn't. You could put this up next to a 100 watter, and I don't think you're going to notice a big difference between the two as far as the size of sound goes. I really don't. In fact, the guy, I saw an interview with the guy that made this, that works at Paul Reed Smith, and he said in that interview, give me a half an hour and I can make this into a 100 watt amp. That's how close it is to being a 100 watt amp. A half hour on a Tex bench, it's 100 watts. So that really says something, if you ask me, about how this thing's made. I mean, they really they pull out all the stops on this, and there's a lot of good tricks in here to make it sound amazing. I love the gain structure on it. The gain on it right now is at 1 o'clock, which is my sweet spot because, as you know, I do solos and rhythms, so I need something that supports both. If I was in the studio, I'd probably back it down a little bit for rhythms and turn it up a little bit more for leads, but I found a good sweet spot. And the preamp tubes are 6JJ-ECC83S, and the power tubes are 2 6L6. So yeah, I mean, it's just a freaking beast of an amplifier, and as you heard, it sounds absolutely incredible. You know, there's nothing sonically I don't like about this amp. I'm not wincing on certain things and going, oh, if it only had this or didn't do that. It does everything I want it to do, and that's why it's definitely one of my favorite pieces of gear that I bought, and it made #1 piece of gear that I reviewed in 2019. Because it just shocked the hell out of me on how good it was, how good it sounded, how good it felt, and supported all the stuff that I play. And again, this is my opinion, you know what I mean? It just supports how I play and what I like very much, so I really like it. Gravel Rocks, M15 is louder than you will ever need. Yeah, you're right, dude. This thing will rip your face off and shove it up your rear end. I mean, it's crazy. Andrew Stonerock, let's see. Archer Monty grew up in Detroit. Oh, I didn't know that. Let's see, MTV. Oh, the MT15 sounds beastly. It does, dude. This amp is freaking killer. Bring the pain, says Astronaut of Bohemia. I shall. I will bring the pain in a minute for you. Let me read some comments. Andrew Stonerock says, I was talking to my tech about the MT15. He legit thinks there is some magic in there, especially because they managed to squeeze 2 6L6 into a 15 watt amp. Incredible transformers in the MT15. And that's really what it is. It's about the transformer too. I mean, that's what makes the Mesa amp so percussive, like with the Mark series, is that transformer just stops everything so well, but it adds a little bit of girth to those stops. Transformer makes a huge difference. It really does. Let's see here. Sean Christopher, what's happening? The MT15 is the meanest sounding 15 watt lunchbox, small as hell amp that I've ever heard. Yeah. If I were in the market for a Lunchbox amp or any amp, I would definitely consider the MT15. Oh, Carrie, good night. Missed you today. I'm glad you were here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it very much. You're awesome, Carrie. No, you're right, Sean. It's definitely something that everybody should consider. It's an awesome, awesome all-around amp. If you play rock, metal, blues, whatever, it would, and I think that that's why I bought it because it's just so, it's got so many different things that it can do, very flexible piece of gear. So let's play some mixes. I'll do all three with this guy because I like it and it's my favorite. Alright, let's start with this one. We mute the mic and let's go. yeah, that, I don't need to say anything more. I mean, if that mix didn't do it for you, I don't know what to do. That thing just sounds absolutely incredible. Honestly, like in the room through my Mesa cabs, it doesn't sound small at all. It sounds incredibly huge, you know. There's a great, I love the kind of darkness that it has, but it also has enough cut to go through a mix. And you could brighten this thing up quite a bit. I mean, I got the presence just at barely 1 o'clock. And my treble is, where is my treble? Just at 1 o'clock as well. So, you know, I could brighten this up even more if you want a brighter amp, but I just love the fullness and the really nice rich tone that it has. And the notes on the solo are so sweet as well, just like they are on the Boogie. They're just very sweet. There's a juicy kind of really sweetness to them. And they cut through a mix, but there's no, they sing really well, but they don't hurt your ears at all. And I would know, because I got the notes going. They're practically tattooed to my eardrums with these in-ears right now. And there's nothing annoying about the notes at all. They're very, very sweet, and I really like this thing a lot. Let me do the clean channel, and then I'll catch up with you guys in a second. Yep, clean channel's glorious, very nice. Again, it's just chorus and a little bit of delay on it. That's it. And I'm using the coil tap kind of deal on the guitar. So, can't say enough good things about this amp. I think that it's, you know, the affordability of this amp. You're at just over $700, and you know, the size of sound that it gives you is awesome. The tones it gives you, the flexibility it gives you is awesome. Two 100% very usable, very flexible channels on it. It even has a pull on the treble to give you a little boost. Let me just show you that real quick. I don't play like that, so it's gonna sound weird with me, but whatever. Yeah, so if you want a little more bite, it'll give you that. You know, you probably have to adjust some other things to attenuate for that. But I mean, yeah, it's just a very flexible amp. I can't wait to see what the 100-watt version is going to do. Hopefully it's got Midi on it, because if it doesn't, that'd be really stupid of them not to put Midi on it. But I wonder what other channels would it be on it. Wonder if they would give you two high gain channels. That would be awesome. That way you can dial one in for rhythm and one for leads. That would be really cool. And since Motor City Guitar is a dealer, I'm hopefully going to be able to get that for a review for you guys, and we'll hang out on a Wednesday night and look at that together. I think that would be really cool. So let me catch up to you guys here See, the MT15, Jim Stevens says, sounds better on the rhythm stuff, but the Boogie sounds smoother and fatter on the single note lines, in his opinion. Yeah, I mean, it all depends on what you like, you know what I mean? Crank up the mids at least 3 o'clock on oh, J-Rod's got to leave. Later, man. Thanks for stopping by, dude. Really appreciate that. Let me crank the mids up for you. 1 second. Yeah, that also sounds really good. It's probably not a real mid-heavy amp, so it allows you to do that. But yeah, I could go with that too. I mean, this this amp is so good, you know. Astronaut of Bohemia, this is awesome. Thank you, dude. I really appreciate that very much. Yeah, sorry I didn't get to your comment earlier, Gravel Rocks. I'm trying to backtrack here. Check out all you guys' comments here. Let's see. Have you heard, Aaron Lucas asks, have you heard of any of the Tremonti solo stuff or Alter Bridge? He used the MT15. Yeah, I think he did use it on his, I think might have been the Alter Bridge stuff. Yeah, he used it in there. And, you know, Tremonti is one of the most underrated guitar players out there. I wasn't a big Creed fan because I couldn't stand Scott Stapp and all that crap, you know, so wasn't a big fan of them. And Mark Tremonti was so underutilized in that band. And when he went solo and did the Alter Bridge thing, I was like, holy crap, that guy's amazing. There's no way that guy gets high praise from me for holding back and just doing what he's supposed to do in that band and just, I don't know, sticking to the formula, because I don't think I could do that. I would have to play some solos and stuff, especially if I was as good as him. That would drive me nuts, you know. But yeah, he's a great guitar player. Let's see. Sean Christopher, Chicago Todd says that I need to really work on getting affiliate links so I can get some credit for all the gear we buy based on this channel. No, I definitely, I appreciate you saying that. I really do. That means a lot. Yeah, I'm trying to work stuff like that out. I tried to work something out with Sweetwater. They don't do that. Maybe they don't do it if you're not big enough. I don't know, but I have to look into it a little more. I do have affiliate links through Amazon for, you know, stuff like the in-ears and stuff like that. I can post those links if you guys like to buy that stuff. But a lot of it's just like the, you know, just the, you know, the smaller ticket purchases and stuff like that. But I appreciate that very much. I wish there was a way I could get some sort of kickbacks from some of these companies, because, you know, these live streams, you know, and the videos that we do here, I mean, they're a lot of work. You know, they really are. I love doing it, and I love hanging out with you guys, so it's worth it to me. It really is. Just looking on here and seeing 30-some people on, it seriously, it makes me really happy. It's awesome, you know, hanging out with you guys, and I'm honored to do it. So, but yeah, having some kickbacks from some companies would be really nice too. I get it, you know. Sean Christopher says he's surprised at how good the MT15 clean tones are. Super glassy, chimey, and rich. No, you're right, dude. They're really good. They're super, super good. Let me show you the clean channel without any effects. Let me go over here. And okay, so there's no effects on it at all. This is just dry. So hang on 1 second. Yeah, very, very usable clean channel. It sounds so good that you almost don't want to put effects on it sometimes, right? You just want people to hear the purity that comes out of this thing. It's just so nice. I do a lot of cleans. I don't do as much cleans as I do distorted stuff, but I mean, when I do cleans and stuff live, especially, I don't want people to like, ugh, that's awful. You should never make your audience wince. They should just bask in the glory of whatever comes out of your amp. It should just sound. Tone is so important, So like, if your cleans just sound amazing, but you're playing something simple, it makes it sound like you're playing something glorious. It doesn't matter how simple it is. It really adds so much to what you're doing. Tone is everything. There's singers. I mean, just to give it to an example, there are singers that can't hit stratospheric notes and do all the crazy gymnastics, but their tone of their voice is so pure and so just beautiful, like especially with female vocalists. The tone of their voice is so pure. They don't have to hit that stuff. They can sing simple things and just make you just fall asleep. I mean, it make you cry. I mean, make you feel things. And that's how you got to look at your guitar tone. Your guitar tone should be so good that even when you play simple things, it reaches into people's souls, and it's so important to me that my tone is better than my playing, honestly. I mean, if I had to choose between crap tone and awesome playing, I would pick the good tone over the awesome playing any day of the week, because I've been to shows where people are amazing players and play me under the table 8 days a week, but their guitar tone's so bad I can't listen to it. So I'd rather have awesome tone. Yeah, so rich and full sounding, Sean Christopher says. You're right. It's just glorious. I mean, and it's real simple. I mean, I got, what do I got here? Clean channel. Mid, it's right up the middle. The bass is at 1 o'clock. The mids are in the middle, and the treble's at like 1:30. That's it. Nothing crazy. It just sounds great all by itself. I didn't have to do much to it, which is the great thing about amplifiers, right? You don't have to do much to them. You turn a few knobs and you go. So Chicago Todd says, so far based on your recommendations, I've got the Kemper Stage, the Blue Guitar Iridium, and the Friedman ASC 12. Love all these purchases. Thank you, dude. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you got the Friedman. When did you get that? Because I'd like to know how long you've had it and how much you love it compared to what you've used in the past. Yeah, that Friedman's awesome. If you're looking for a great FR cab, they're the best. Thank you so much. Sean Christopher says, and great tone inspires you to play more. No, you're right. Great tone, it just makes you want to just play all day. It makes you want to just write things. It'll inspire you to hit certain notes because they just sound so nice when you hit them. They just sound so sweet, and you just want to ring them out. So instead of shredding and doing all this fast playing, you'll just stay on a note longer because it just sounds so sweet. And every guitar and every amp together, they have their sweet spots where certain things jump out and sound amazing. And those are the moments that you stop and smell the roses, right? You just stop. It's just like, this is a sweet moment in life. Let me just sit here, close my eyes. Let me just take it in for a minute before we move on. And you have to treat those notes like that. You really do. You have to just stop and go, I could be doing so many things right now, but I'm just going to stay here. And I'm going to make everyone listening stay here with me just for a minute. And let's just enjoy what we're hearing right now. And like, all right, now you move on to something else. I mean, that's the glorious part of having great tone, because those moments that you have with yourself and your equipment and your audience are just, they're few and far between these days. And I love going to see players that do that. Petrucci's known for that. I mean, he'll sit there and linger on things that are just amazing, and it's you could stay there all day. That's what's so nice about having all this great stuff, guys. It really is. So Sean Christopher says, I got my Kemper Stage based on Jared's experience and recommendations, and it's the absolute best gear purchase I've ever made. Thank you, man. No, I love that thing too. And out of all these things here, I mean, it's funny, like, I haven't played my Kemper in a while because I've been doing all these amp type things lately. And I played my Kemper when Carrie and I went live on Sunday night, and I was like, holy crap, I haven't played this in a while. And I missed it. I thoroughly loved it just as much as I always did. And I get worried sometimes when I play all this great gear. And I'm always worried about, well, what about when I go back to the stuff that I've been owning for a while and playing for a while? Am I going to hate it? And I'm still very happy with all my gear. So that's a testament to, I guess I've made some some pretty good choices, you know, and got lucky and made some good choices, you know. But all this stuff's really good. I mean, to wrap up tonight, I mean, I would say that if you're looking for just really great tone, but you want something that's just got a lot of rage and a lot of aggression, the EVH and the 6505 would be for you. I think that the 6505 has a little more rage and a little chewier kind of feel than the 5150. 5150 is a little drier. Some people really like that though. I liked it. I like them both. I preferred slightly the 6505 over the 5150. And if you're looking for something that works like in the doomier kind of genre, the Orange Dark Terror would be great. I think for metal, it sounds a little smaller than I'd like it, but I'm sure there's some guys out there that could make it work for metal. It just doesn't work for the notes and the kind of riffs that I play. But again, it doesn't mean that it's not a good product. So I'm definitely not trying to steer you away from that. If you like that kind of thing, you know, then get that for your type of playing, because there's guys that have riffs that would match that product much better than mine do. That's the only difference. My riffs just don't match that product very well, but it doesn't mean it's not good. So if you're into the doomier type stuff or even a little bit of a metal type thing, the Orange Dark Terror would be a great product for you. I wish it had more low end, but it is what it is. The Mesa Mark V 25 was absolutely phenomenal. Worth every penny. Because it's American craftsmanship, it's made here in America, and it's the fattest amp here tonight for sure. That thing was definitely the fattest amp. Great sounds, lots of flexibility, lots of options. Felt great, sounded great. So if you like a tight amp that doesn't have a ton of aggression, but it has enough, but it gives up a little. You're trading some aggression for clarity with the Mark V. You really are. You're trading some aggression, not all, but some aggression for some clarity. But you're also getting a lot of fat, tight, percussive type stuff going on, especially when you push it with an overdrive. I would highly recommend that amp for guys who want that type of feel. When you do the palm mutes and stuff, there's a stickiness to it that I really like. The lead tones on it were just mind-boggling good. If you want a great, flexible, all-around amplifier that would suit a lot of people's tastes and really have no deal-breaker type things about it regarding sounds and features, I would say go with the MT15, the PRS. I mean, I fell in love with it immediately. It wasn't hard for me to fall in love with it at all. It was immediate. I was like, I want this amp. It just sounds incredible, and it's super loud. And the size, I would say that this is a little fatter, but this is just as big as this one, if that makes sense. Same size, this has a little more girth to it, but this still has a very big sonic footprint. And the MT15, that is. So a very big sounding amp, great clean channel, great lead channel. The rhythm channel super tight, percussive. The 6L6s, I think this is really what made this one sound as big as it does. So I would go with that if that's what you're looking for. A good all around, just very cool, awesome amp that not one person's gonna be like, I don't like that. There's nothing to not like about this, you know. So I think that kind of wraps it up, right? I mean, I hope I was respectful about my opinions about all this stuff. Again, I think it's all great. Otherwise, I wouldn't, be reviewing this stuff. Some of it I'm going to like better than others, but you would do the same thing. All of us would. That's just the way it is. But there's there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 great options for you if you're looking for amps. And I think that depending on what you're looking for, any one of these would be a quality choice for you. So it's 9:43. I've been on for quite a while, and I'm getting hungry. I gotta eat. So I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me very much. Andrew Stonerock says the orange stuff is always kind of fuzzy. Yeah, some of it. That's just the way the top end is, right? I mean, that's the way they do their top end, and it does stand out in the mix really well. I just wish it had a little more girth to it, but yeah. Let's see here. Made it. I'm at work, hiding in the bathroom. LOL. I missed most of it. Juan Valdez. What's up, man? I'm just wrapping up. I'm really sorry, but what's going on, man? That cracks me up. You're hiding at work watching this. Dude, you're awesome. It's always good to see your name in here. But here's the thing, Juan. This is a pretty long episode, and there's plenty of guitar playing. I went through 5 different amps. I played several mixes on each one, and you get to hear everything, you know. And I really hope you enjoy watching it back after I'm done going live here. So it's up forever for you guys to enjoy. And Astronaut of Bohemia says this was very beneficial. A great playing my first time. I'm thrilled, and I can't wait for the next one. Dude, thank you. That really, I'm not kidding you guys. It means the world to me. It really does, because like I said, we work really hard on these, and we just really hope you guys enjoy these as much as we enjoy them. So thank you so much. I really, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate it. Seriously, it means a lot. Well, anyways, going to PM you somehow. Gravel Rock says, great review. Let me put my address in here, or my email address. There's my email address for you. Go ahead and send me an email, and then we can talk there, and we got phone calls, whatever. We can work that out. I do that a lot. All right. Well, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it very much having you guys here. I'm honored that you spent your evening with me, and if there's anything that I can do for you, I'd be happy to do that. If you haven't subscribed, please do, because we got a lot of great stuff coming up, and we'll be doing these live interactive kind of gear thingies every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and I look forward to the next one with you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and you guys all take care. And now I got to get my mouse to work here. I'll probably be on another hour getting my mouse to work. Well, thanks again, guys. God bless you all, and we will see you soon.